All right, everybody, welcome back. We are back with another deep dive, and we're tackling a big one today.
A really big one.
I mean, it's the question, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Can money buy happiness?
Yeah.
I feel like this is something we all kind of think about, at some point or another.
Sure.
On one hand, it's like, well, yeah, money can solve a lot of problems.
Right. Like you can be more comfortable, you can have opportunities.
Exactly. Travel the world, buy all the things.
Buy all of the things.
But then we all know people who have lots of money and are totally miserable.
Right.
So where's the truth? So that's what we're going to try to get to the bottom of today. We're going to look at some of the research. I'm talking about some personal stories. And then I'm really excited we're going to get an expert's perspective on all this.
Yeah, should be really interesting.
Yeah. So let's just jump right in. I think a lot of us, have heard that saying, money can't buy happiness.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But the research is actually kind of more complicated than that.
Yeah, more nuanced, for sure.
So, obviously having enough money to meet your basic needs, like having food, a roof over your head, like those things do contribute to happiness.
Oh, absolutely makes sense, right? If you're stressed about making rent or feeding your family, like that's going to weigh on you.
Right, exactly. And the research actually shows that like when people can meet those needs, their well-being like really does increase.
Yeah, and there's actually research suggesting there's like a tipping point almost.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So emotional well-being, it increases with income up to a point.
Okay.
And then it kind of levels off.
Okay, so it's not like an endless climb.
Right, exactly. I mean, around like $75,000 per year, that's where they've kind of found it kind of plateaus.
Interesting.
So like obviously a raise can make a huge difference if you're struggling to get by, but once you're kind of comfortably meeting your needs, that extra cash may not bring the same joy.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, like I think that when I got my first like real job out of college,
Yeah.
it wasn't a ton of money, but it was like, wow, I can pay my bills and like have some fun money left over.
Totally.
And that was a huge jump in like my happiness level. But then, as you make more money, it's like, oh, another couple $1,000s. It doesn't feel as impactful.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
It is.
Okay, so we got some research, but I think, personal stories are important too.
Absolutely. They add a lot of color.
And like, I've noticed this in my own life. Like, some of the happiest people I know are not the wealthiest people at all.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Like, I have this one friend, we'll call him Mark.
Okay.
He's always, chasing the next promotion, the next raise. And he makes a ton of money, but he's always stressed. He never seems content. But then I have another friend, we'll call her Sarah. And she's like the opposite. She makes a modest income. She prioritizes time with her family, volunteering in her community, and she just like radiates happiness.
It's like she's found that balance,
Yeah, totally.
It seems like happiness, it often comes from those things you were talking about, right? Like experiences meaningful relationships and that sense of purpose.
And those things money can't directly buy.
Exactly. You can't just walk into a store and buy a sense of purpose.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of purpose, right, we wanted to get an expert's perspective on all of this. So we reached out to a psychologist who specializes in happiness studies.
Okay, great.
And one of the things I was really curious about is, we've all heard money can't buy happiness, but can it buy experiences that lead to happiness?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question.
So, like, what did our expert have to say about that?
Well, they basically said absolutely.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, think about like travel or education or pursuing a creative passion. Those experiences, they create lasting memories. They broaden your horizons and they can bring immense joy.
That's so true. And I think about like there's this trip I took a few years ago. I went to Costa Rica to learn how to surf. And it was amazing. Like, honestly, way more fulfilling than like any material purchase I've ever made.
That makes sense. It's an experience. It's something you did. It's not just a thing.
Exactly. And it's like a memory I'll have forever.
Right.
Okay, so it seems like money isn't like a guaranteed ticket to happiness, but we can use it strategically to like boost our well-being. So what are some like practical ways we can do that?
Yeah, I mean, the expert had some great tips. It's not really about having a ton of cash. It's about being intentional with how we use it.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, so one powerful approach is investing in those experiences we were just talking about. Like maybe there's a trip you've always dreamed of taking or a skill you've always wanted to learn. Putting your money towards that could bring you a lot more happiness than, buying a new gadget or something.
Okay, that makes sense.
Another impactful approach is giving back.
Oh yeah, donating.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's something that's been shown to actually increase your own happiness, too.
Oh, interesting. Why is that?
Well, when you donate to a cause you care about, it not only helps others, but it can give you a sense of connection, a sense of purpose, like we were talking about earlier.
That makes sense.
And it just feels good to help others, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, sometimes I feel overwhelmed by like all the causes out there.
I get that.
Like, how do you even choose where to focus your giving?
Well, I think it's really about finding something that resonates with you, something that aligns with your values and your passions.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be this huge donation. Even small contributions can make a difference.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah, and they can still give you that boost in well-being.
Awesome. Okay, so we've talked about investing in experiences. We've talked about giving back. And I feel like we can't forget about this one.
Oh, yeah, the big one.
Relationships, right?
Absolutely.
Spending time with loved ones is so important.
It really is. I mean, those are the connections that bring us so much joy.
Exactly. So like dinner parties, game nights, weekend getaways, all that good stuff.
Right. It's about shifting our mindset from what can I buy to what experiences can I create and share with the people I love.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we kind of wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I think the big takeaway here is that money, it does play a role in our lives, for sure.
Of course.
But that true happiness, it often comes from within. It comes from our values, our passions, our connections with other people.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So for everyone listening out there, I want you to think about the experiences that bring you the most joy.
Yeah, think about it.
Do they require a ton of money? Or is it more about the people you share those experiences with? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.